Three things you'll never hear Jesus say. That's mine. I deserve more. That's not fair. Jesus says instead, nobody takes my life from me. I freely give it. God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. What's the most generous thing that you've done lately? Our pivotal question for this week is meant to jolt us out of our politics. What's fair? What's mine? What do I deserve? And get us in touch instead with God's generosity, which we are to imitate. Our parable for today is crystal clear on one thing. Everything is a grace. Life is a pure gift. And this includes our life's work, our vocation, our purpose. That too is a gift from God, not something that we can capture or control or politic. In today's striking parable, God is the greatest employer of all time. And his status as the greatest employer is on full display. He never stops seeking, never stops inviting, never stops hiring worker after worker after worker into the greatest enterprise of all time, building the kingdom of heaven. I have a role, you have a role. Everybody has a unique and indispensable role. In doing what? In defeating the evils of the present day, in conquering fear and hate with love, in being faithful to the promises that I can make that will bear fruit into eternity, in laying claim to the fullness of life as God offers it to us through Jesus. And God hires me not because he needs me for anything, but because he deeply wants to hire me. He hires me out of sheer love. He delights in me figuring out, Father Mitchell, what is the problem that you were put on earth to solve? And if I know my why, I have a gift of meaning and purpose that will provide me a greater happiness throughout my life than any salary number ever could. And by the way, I'm the one hired at 5 p.m., not first thing in the morning. I'm the one hired at the 11th hour. In case you haven't noticed, God has been calling people. He's been hiring for quite a while now. He's been making wine for a long time. And unless your name is Abraham, who was hired by God 3,800 years ago, then you and I are hired last, not first. And if we see anything other than this in the parable, I'm thinking not as God thinks, but I'm trapped in my own politics. What is mine? What is fair? What do I deserve? And if I'm trapped in my own politics, I'm not really praying. I'm not really worshiping. I'm worshiping only my own thoughts. For prayer is nothing less than a changing of our minds, a turning of our worldview and expectations and politics upside down over and over again, time after time, every day, knowing that I yet have no idea what it means to think as God thinks, what it means for the last to be first and the first to be last. I wish I was there. I wish I could think like God does. Instead, this parable bothers the heck out of me, like it does for a lot of people. I am envious that he is so generous. I want to get paid. Today's parable instead begs me to experience my life's work as a great gift. There's no room left in our lives for fretting about what I deserve, what's fair, or what's mine. There's only time left for us to live the law of the gift in all of its fullness. So what is the most generous thing that you've done lately? Now, this pivotal question is actually a trap. Don't take the bait. It's a great question to ask myself privately. What is the most generous thing that I've done? But Jesus says to keep it there, so that our almsgiving may be in secret, and our Father who sees in secret will repay us. This is another of the great consolations in life, to know that somebody, God, is keeping score in secret so that I don't have to. God's generosity is on high display today, but he will in the end also give to each man what he chooses. His justice is like his generosity. It will not be late. It will be sure. So today I can simply ask the question, what is the most generous thing that I've done lately? And compared to God's generosity in today's parable, the answer for me is absolutely nothing. I'm not very generous at all. But I have a chance to change that. And the chance I have to become more like him, to become more generous, starts with me honestly answering the question of today's parable. Am I envious that he is generous?